Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Real Time Economics. On this channel, we go beyond the news headlines and dig through the layers of each story to uncover the economic theories behind them. So, whether you're aiming to build a bank of relevant, up to date examples to give you an edge in IB or Cambridge exams, or simply trying to understand the world through the lens of economics, this channel is for you. Every generation produces its moral panic about what children consume. Comics were going to corrupt the young in the 1950s. Television was going to rot their brains in the 1970s. Video games were going to make them violent in the 1990s. In each case, the panic eventually subsided, medium normalized, and the children turned out mostly fine. It is tempting to file the social media in that same cabinet. But this time it's different. These platforms are engineered to extract attention and manufacture social comparison. In this video, we are going to break down our analysis into three parts. First, we look at what research says about the cognitive effects of digital technology. Then we look at how the brain develops through mental exercise. And finally, why the stage of brain development, especially in the youth, makes regulation important. Let's get started. Studies on social media use among children suggest that heavy exposure is associated with declines in attention, working memory, and executive functioning. Studies on AI use also point to a related mechanism, which is known as cognitive offloading. The delegation of external tasks such as memory, reasoning, or problem solving to external tools. It might also lead to attention fragmentation. Rapid content switching caused by algorithmic feeds reduces the ability of deep, sustained focus. This leads us to the efficiency atrophy paradox. The researchers says that while technology improves short-term performance, which is efficiency, it may lead to the weakening of cognitive skills, that is atrophy. But why does this happen? This is because our brain develops through neuroplasticity. The neural circuits strengthen when they are repeatedly activated through activities which demand sustained attention, reasoning, and problem solving. Our brain's prefrontal cortex is located behind the forehead, which performs the executive functions like planning, decision making, impulse control, and goal directed behavior. Generally, this prefrontal cortex reaches maturity only around ages of 21 to 25. Brain system which is related to emotions, however, develop earlier than the prefrontal cortex related to the executive control. So in youth, these neural networks are responsible for executive control and are habit forming. That is why we see that youth getting easily addicted to the social media platforms. Just as muscles strengthen through physical exercise, cognitive networks strengthen through demanding mental activities, reading deeply, practicing complex reasoning, or even debating. Excessive social media and AI usage changes the brain exercise regime to rapid navigation, scanning, and reaction. So, the reasons for regulatory guardrails are very clear. Social media and AI can alter attention, working memory, and critical thinking through cognitive offloading and attention fragmentation. Neuroscience simply says cognitive abilities strengthen when exercised and weakens when routinely delegated to external systems. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for executive functions, will develop only between 21 to 25 years, making young people even more vulnerable to social media addiction. These reasons justify the ban which Karnataka government is thinking of implementing for children under age of 16. We now move on to the second part of the video where we are going to use economic theories to further understand the social media ban. Karnataka's social media ban for kids draws skepticism. This article is from the Mint newspaper dated 7th March 2026. It is highlighted here. Lawyers and policymakers spoke with Mint and said that such a state-level demographic-specific ban could require intrusive age verification systems and may be impractical since many children access social media through adults' devices and accounts. Governments considering bans should be careful not to push teens towards less safe, unregulated sites or locked out experiences that bypass important protections like the default safeguards we offer in Instagram's teen accounts. We'll comply with social media bans where they are enforced, but with teens using nearly 40 apps every week, targeting a handful of companies won't keep them safe. Bans should apply equally across the many apps teens use. There was another article in Reuters which said India's tech state Karnataka bans social media for children under 16. It also highlights that Australia became the first country to ban social media for children in December 2025. India is the world's second biggest smartphone market with 750 million devices and a billion internet users. For Meta, the country is its biggest market with the highest number of users on Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp worldwide. So it's not just about kids but also businesses getting impacted. Let's look at the economic theories. The first is the negative externalities of consumption. We know that if children are going to consume social media, it is going to have harmful effects for them as well as for the society. So these harmful effects which it will impose on the society is known as the external costs of consumption. Because these external costs are going to reduce the social benefit, therefore the marginal social benefit will be less than the marginal private benefit. The marginal private benefits would include entertainment and communication with peers, whereas the marginal social costs to the society would include the mental health issues children will face, their reduced academic productivity, long-term healthcare costs. As a result of this, the social media is likely to be overconsumed in a free market, leading to a situation of market failure. To demonstrate it on the graph, we start with the socially optimum level, which is this point here, where MSB, the marginal social benefit, is equal to the marginal social cost, which gives us the socially optimum level of output. But because here the marginal private benefit is more than the marginal social benefit, the marginal private benefit curve lies above the marginal social benefit curve. This is the point where we are actually producing or we are actually consuming. You can see that this point lies beyond the socially optimum level. So the children are consuming more than what is optimum from the viewpoint of society. This leads to the problem of negative externalities. So this triangle here represents the welfare loss to the society due to overconsumption of social media. Market failure also arises because of asymmetric information. Children do not have full information because they have still not reached that level of cognitive maturity. As I explained in the video, the executive functions develop between 21 to 25 years. As a result, they are not aware of the negative effects it can have on the children. Due to this information failure, there will be overconsumption of social media, leading to market failure. Production possibility frontier. This is also going to impact the long-term productivity of our children in the society and deter them from reaching their maximum potential. Clearly, this is a case for government intervention. By banning social media access for children below a certain age, the government's attempt to reduce the consumption of a demerit good. Social media is a demerit good because it is going to have harmful effects if overconsumed to the children as well as to the society. And this will help in correcting the market failure. Now let's do the evaluation by looking at the impact on the different stakeholders. In the long term, children, if they judicially follow this ban, it will definitely improve the mental health conditions, their cognitive abilities. It will improve their academic performance. There will be no cyberbullying and there will be greater job productivity. So all these will be the long-term benefits of implementation of the social media ban. However, if they resort to less safe, unregulated sites, access to parents' account, then the ban efficiency will definitely fall. In the short term, there might be a loss of entertainment for these children. They may not be able to communicate with their peers. They might lose access to information and online education resources. As far as the parents are concerned, they will have to do some strict monitoring because the parents only know their children best, and the burden of enforcement will shift on them. In the long term, it will have a cascading effect on the mental health of the entire family. It will also potentially lower the future healthcare costs or the tutoring costs for the parents. The social media firms. In the short term, the social media firms will lose their user base and also lose their advertising revenue. And in the long term, they might also have to incur increased costs for age verification technology. So on the whole, we can say that in this case, the social media firms will be majorly losing out. The state government will get a branding of welfare government. The risk of administrative failure looms large in the long run because a lot of cost is involved in monitoring and enforcing these regulations. There are some challenges involved in implementation of this ban. The first being the enforcement challenge. The children may bypass restrictions by creating fake accounts. They may use their parents' account. They might access alternative platforms. This would render the ban a failure. Also, if the monitoring and the enforcing costs of the government is high, such that these costs of enforcement outweigh the benefits of reduced social media usage, then that would lead to the scenario of government failure. The costs would outweigh the benefits and hence government failure. To conclude, if the mental health crisis and academic distraction are as severe as the budget suggests, the social benefits of a healthier, more focused workforce will outweigh the costs to the government or to the social media companies. However, the policy may just be a paper tiger without a technological way to enforce age limits. It may simply shift behavior underground, creating a less safe environment without reducing the screen time. Thank you for watching.